I went first last time, so you go first this time. And I'm excited to hear what you're talking about because I don't know.
I don't really
Neither of
know
us
either.
actually know.
I hope that we
I don't know either. Here we go.
don't have overlap, but
I don't
whatever.
think so. But we're going to find out. And on that note, welcome everyone to episode 13 of Girls Gone Spooky.
Spooky. Welcome
Lucky
back.
or unlucky number 13?
Who knows?
It's up to you to decide, listener.
Exactly.
Spooky listener.
Dear
Dear
it's your
listener.
choice.
It's your choice. That reminded me, remember that movie The Island, where that woman's the woman's voice, it was like, this is a really old movie, so this is a spoiler if you haven't seen it and are dying to see it. It's like sci-fi, then skip ahead. But basically it's like these people live in this compound and they think that they're the last surviving humans, but really they're like the body doubles of people living in the real world to be like organ donors.
Whoa.
And so the island, it's called The Island. Or no, there's this sweepstakes that's called The Island, and people get chosen to like go to this like paradise basically. So they think really they're getting shipped off to have their organs harvested.
Oh God.
But people, it's like the voice is like, welcome to the island. It's so creepy. And the way you said that really reminded me of that.
Sorry.
Anyway, long-winded connection there, but here we go. That's the kind of day I'm having.
There we go. Because that also reminded me of something else. That movie Old, I think it's called Old.
Yeah, I never saw it, or I haven't seen it yet. On the beach, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was pretty good.
I'm kind of surprised you saw it.
It was Dave's idea. And it wasn't like a horror movie at all.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
Really odd.
Yeah, they advertised it like a horror movie.
Yeah. There was only one scene where I was like, I really could have gone without seeing that ever. But the rest was fine.
Okay, you'll have to like ping me on the side and tell me what it was, because that's a relatively new one, so I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a more specific fear to me. You might be able to just guess what it deals with.
Okay. Okay. I literally had the image in my mind. Is it similar to that scene in Paranormal Activity?
Yes, it is. But like, it's even worse if possible. Like, yeah, I really just want to say it at this point, but I guess I should.
I know. I already have the image in my mind, so you're good. You're good.
I'll send you a picture of it later. Haunt your nightmares.
Perfect. Even I don't like that level of bone cracking sound. Oh, God. All right. Should we get into it? Yeah. As Doja Cat would say, get into it. Yeah.
Yes, that sounds good.
Let's do this.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, we were just joking about this, that I kind of don't even know what my own topic is this week. But it's all under the umbrella of our general theme of Unlucky 13 for our 13th episode.
Yes. Okay, I like it.
Yes. And I think through this research, I found that it's actually just a Western thing, that 13 is considered to be an unlucky number. I think in a lot of Asian countries, the number is 4 rather than 13. But
wait, can I just inject a funny note in that?
Yeah.
My dad did a lot of traveling in Asia, and in particular China, when I was little. And so he just, has had exposure to a lot of like cultural things there. And in my email address, I won't say it aloud, but it has a 4 in it. So every time my dad will say like the beginning part, and then he's like, death at hotmail.com. And I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, just if you ever decide to work in Asia, maybe change that. Like,
that might be a good idea.
Fair.
Wow.
Okay, sorry.
And
proceed.
Did you do that on purpose?
No, it's my favorite number. It's my favorite number.
Whatever. Well,
Whatever.
yeah. So maybe change it only if you go to Asia someday.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people truly fear the number 13. Like it's actually a diagnosable phobia at this
Whoa.
point that's called triskaidekaphobia. Like a very weird name.
Wow, that was very
Um,
well pronounced on the first try.
oh, thank you.
I feel
I've
like
been
I would have tripped up on that. Okay. I was like, you rehearsed. I
Mhm.
can feel it.
Except I think I've heard of it before because
Yeah.
people were making fun of it being the fear of Triscuits because of the beginning of it.
Triscuit decatophobia.
Yeah,
What, like, not wheat
exactly.
thins, but Triscuits.
Specifically.
Specifically Triscuits.
Yeah.
Oh
So
shit.
triskaidekaphobia, but really at its core, that's the fear of number 13 and it being unlucky is just a superstition. So
Mhm.
I just looked up some superstitions that I
Mm.
hadn't heard of before. And a lot of them, I picked out ones that were more to do with like paranormal, supernatural stuff.
Love it.
And so there are a few that I just want to breeze right through. And then there are two that I'm going to dive deeper into. One, of course, being the fear of the number 13.
Yay.
But the ones I wanted to skim over are first, in the Netherlands, if you sing at the dinner table, you're thought to be singing to the devil, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in Lithuania, whistling indoors is said to summon the devil.
I do that all the
I know.
time.
I was thinking
Shit.
that. I know. I was thinking that because Dave whistles every day, like all day.
Uh,
And so I don't know how to counteract that though. Some of these
Salt over
have
the shoulder? I don't know.
maybe, I don't know. But
Jesus. I always sing the Kill Bill whistle
oh,
inside when I'm like doing chores just because it's catchy.
what is that one again? But now I'm
I'm
like
not gonna be able to do
trapping
it.
you.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, okay. It's like do 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 do
Oh,
do 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 do
yeah.
do 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 that one,
Mhm.
or the
Yeah.
Harry Potter one, the intro, the
Oh,
theme.
yeah. Love that
You
sound.
know,
Uh-huh.
it's just
It's so catchy.
shit. All
You'll
right,
just have to change to
you have
what you
to
just
unwrite
did,
that
like,
habit.
yeah.
Yeah, do 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 do.
Rather than
Folding laundry,
whistling.
sounding like an a-hole. Great.
Well, people love it. Love your
Uh,
voice.
oh yeah.
Okay, let's see. The other one, in the Philippines, you should not go straight home after attending a wake or a funeral because
Hmm.
a bad spirit might follow you home and take up residence in your house.
That feels
Creepy.
logical
Yeah,
to me.
I
I'm
think
like,
so.
okay, yeah.
But,
Well,
and yeah, this,
make a pit stop, get a Slurpee, head home.
that's exactly, yeah, these were all from Good Housekeeping of all places.
Oh, what?
I know. It was like
They're like
56.
in Lithuania.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Thought this was a US publication, but okay.
Whatever. Yeah, they're going international. So, but yeah, they said something about that, like just make a pit stop at your local grocery store before you go home, something like that. So,
Yeah, I bet the proprietor of the local grocery store wouldn't appreciate
yeah,
that.
I know. I was thinking that. Does that mean that the
You're
spirits
like,
then
yeah, you
haunt the
stop off
store?
at a Subway and that franchise is haunted for the rest of its time.
Oh, funny.
Oh shit.
um, Yeah, okay. Then the other ones that I thought we could talk more about, there were a lot of superstitions dealing with mirrors. And
Mm-hmm.
oh man, my computer just locked while I was reading.
Rude.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so the first one, I think we've talked about this before, that if you place two mirrors facing each other, it creates, well, this website
A
said,
portal.
yeah, exactly. A portal
I couldn't help myself.
came out of nowhere.
A portal.
It shocked us all.
Oh God.
But yes, exactly. A portal. For,
And is it like to what? Does it say like the
well,
underworld?
the this website, the Good Housekeeping one, said
Okay.
it's a doorway to the devil.
Oh,
So
lit.
yeah,
Direct.
I guess, yeah, direct pathway for the
No
devil.
layovers.
Yep, no.
Just one stop.
Yep, exactly. And then, but the other websites also said it could be just for spirits to come through. So just
Mhm.
ghosts. But I guess it depends on your interpretation.
Yeah. There are so many ghost stories I feel like I've come across. Not even necessarily just ghosts, but like paranormal stories, because I think a lot of it feels like maybe demonic that
Hmm.
involve mirrors and
Yeah.
yeah, portals. And I know in like feng shui, that's also a huge
Hmm.
thing, like not have it facing your bed and all of
Yes.
that stuff, which is like all about the like chi and energy flow. But yeah, that doesn't, yeah, just like why? And also
Hmm.
why have mirrors facing each other?
Yeah.
Except in my mom's bathroom, there are
Hmm.
mirrors facing each other. Like it's how the bathroom is built.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have a
You have, yeah,
choice.
have no choice.
It's nice for doing your hair though, because you can see the back.
Yeah. My bathroom at home, like my parents' house, has that, but
Yeah.
it's, yeah, it's just the way it is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Ugh.
that feng shui one was also, I guess that's not really a superstition, even though they included it on this list. Um, but yeah, it's, you shouldn't have the mirror facing your bed because it's, sleep is thought to be rejuvenating, and your body and spirit and soul or whatever
Oh.
rejuvenate when you sleep. And if
Mhm.
you are facing a mirror or the mirror is facing you, it's thought that any negative energy that's leaving you while you're sleeping is then just reflected back onto you.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, that's really interesting. I never
yeah,
heard that before.
right. It makes perfect sense. But
It does.
I have a mirror facing my bed, so I've got to do
Oops.
some rearranging.
Isn't it kind of funny when you think about like what mirrors are made of? Like I always, when I was little, I used to think it was just a material, like it was just like
Mhm.
a naturally occurring material that they would like shape or whatever, which
Yeah.
in hindsight makes zero sense. The fact that it's a liquid
Hmm.
and then it like dries like that,
Yeah.
like what?
Kind of crazy.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. And it does kind of make you think like this feels a little magical in a way, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it does. And yeah, this research also brought up like a weird article about some psychological phenomena that can
Mm.
happen if you stare
Ooh.
in the mirror for too long. And like, I didn't really focus on it too much because it was kind of just creeping me out a little bit. But um, if you are in a dim room and you stare at your own face in a mirror for a long time, it said
Mhm.
that eventually it's going to look like your features are kind of like melting off your face. You'll start looking like a different person. And that just sounds like something I don't need to experience in my
No, and
life.
that's like a psychological phenomenon. Like that would happen to anybody.
I think so. I would need to double check that
Whoa.
source, but
Yeah.
that's something
I
I
feel like
saw.
I've heard I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility because or even like probability. There was this trend circulating on TikTok for a little bit.
Hmm.
Yes, I'm nearly 30 and I'm on TikTok. Send help. Um it was like something about it was like a challenge. It was sort of like a nouveau Bloody Mary kind of vibe,
Hmm.
but it was like go into the bathroom and like yeah, I think they said dim the lights and look yourself in the eyes and then say something along the lines of like, I'm in control now.
Hmm.
And the idea is that like your alter ego is essentially your reflection, and that it
Oh.
really freaks people the fuck out. Because
Oh.
when you're looking at yourself in that dim lighting, your brain like plays tricks on you, kind of. So it makes it look like, wait, is my mouth actually moving, or is there somebody looking
Looking
back at
back.
me
Oh.
who looks like you? Like,
Yeah.
that's so scary.
Ooh,
And then people went on to do like to like explain their experience with it, and it was like really quite creepy. Of course, people also do it on like creepy pasta, where it's, you know, fictional and acknowledged to be fictional, but others were not that. And I was like, okay, don't love that.
Yeah, no, that is really
No.
spooky. Yeah,
Nah.
because that's, yeah, I don't know why it is that mirrors, I mean, you kind of said, you know, it's not a naturally occurring material. Like how how did we figure that out? So it's kind of eerie, but like the fear of having something appear behind you in a mirror is so
horrifying,
universally scary to people.
Yes.
And yeah,
Especially
like
when you're
Bloody
washing your
Mary.
face.
Oh yeah.
When you're washing your face, or when you have the cabinet door open and then you close it.
Of
I
course.
scare myself with that almost on a daily basis.
Yes, same. Or like when I when I have my eyes closed in the shower.
Yes,
that's
open your eyes. You're like, shit, there's a demon. There's for sure a demon.
Of course, there's somebody in here now.
There's somebody
they
in
weren't
here now.
before, but
just
now
in this
here.
moment, didn't hear them come in, but they came in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shit.
So I don't know. Those were interesting. And then the 7 years of bad luck if you break a mirror. That apparently comes from Roman times.
Oh, that's old.
Yeah, they believed that it was like cycles or phases of your life happened in 7-year periods.
Which I think actually physiologically is true.
Really?
For women, especially, I was reading something, I don't know, this was years ago, so I'll look into it again. But yeah, something about like your metabolism, like not resets every 7 years, but something to do with like your metabolism, your digestive system, I think like your hormonal cycles, which does make sense too, for like a menstrual cycle is multiples of 7. So I don't know. I do think there is actually some like science behind that. So it's interesting that back then they would have even been aware of that.
I mean, they're so genius somehow.
Yeah.
All of
seriously.
those ancient cultures, like
yeah,
somehow.
Egyptians, the fucking pyramids. Like, how'd y'all do that?
Right. Humans are ingenious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so interesting. And then, yeah, we already talked about Bloody Mary a little bit, but she was the last one I wanted to mention. That I suppose that's a superstition, that if you look in the mirror and say Bloody Mary, I think it varies, like either 3 times or 5 times. And then some people say that she'll just appear and nothing will happen. She's just benign. But then other people say she shows up dripping in blood and is gonna, you know, hurt you
reach
somehow.
For you. And we should dedicate an episode to her backstory, or at least part of an episode, because she's got like, it's based on a real person, which is kind of fascinating.
I looked her up briefly today, and it's kind of funny. It was on Reddit. Somebody had written about, like, what if you had 2 mirrors facing each other and you did Bloody Mary? And then she showed up, would she attack herself?
People are so funny. The shit they come up with.
I know. Because then
my God.
There was a little cartoon drawing that went with it, that it showed Bloody Mary like coming out of both mirrors at herself. And then the person that had summoned her, I guess, was ducking down. See in the mirror.
Get out of the way.
Exactly. So funny.
And she's just having like a slap fight.
Yeah, with herself. Exactly. So that was funny.
But I feel like that's also a way that I want to say on like Charmed or one of those like older like witchy shows
Mm-hmm.
that they would trap like demons and stuff that way, like in a
Mm-hmm.
creating a portal with mirrors. I feel like either that or Supernatural, one of those shows, I feel like they've done that where they trap
Yeah.
them in mirrors. So maybe it's a way to catch her.
Yeah. Maybe. Oof, I don't want to try though.
No, and that's the thing is like, I love being scared, as you well know. I
Mhm.
also, in a controlled environment. So for anyone listening who knows me, don't fucking scare me because I also
Yeah,
can't
don't
control
try.
my impulse reactions and I will punch you in the throat.
Uh-huh. Fair
Not with bad
warning.
intentions, but you've been warned. Um, a throat punch, but a benevolent throat punch.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't do those challenges. I love being scared, but that shit actually freaks me the fuck out. Like I can't. I cannot do Bloody Mary. I just watched that movie Candyman with Yaya and like,
Oh, mhm.
ugh, I don't even. I'm gonna look into that one because if that is based on something real, we should make that a like an episode where
Ooh,
you cover Bloody Mary and I'll cover Candyman because
yeah,
I that's
okay.
another one that I'm like absolutely fucking not. I watched it with
Yeah.
friends and they were like, "Let's go home and do it," and I was like, "That's cute. It's 9 p.m. and fuck no." Like hard pass
Absolutely
from
not.
me.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No,
Oh.
thank you.
Oh god,
With
yeah.
gusto. No, thank you.
Yeah, that would be a good episode because I'm trying to remember, like, it was probably when I saw that movie Old because
Yeah.
it's like the
Yeah.
scariest movie I've seen that they advertised that
Yeah.
movie. Um,
Mhm.
it made it seem like it was almost based on a true story or something.
Right.
So
Yeah.
could be real.
Yeah, it totally did. And I think because yeah, I'll look into it for sure, and we could even do that next week
Okay.
if it checks out.
Yeah.
But I mean, the movie is excellent. If you guys haven't seen it, go see it. It was a remake of a movie from I think like the 80s maybe or the
Mhm.
90s, and it was redone by Jordan Peele. I think
Mhm.
he was one of like the executive producers, and definitely he definitely put like a social commentary spin on it like he usually does, which was so tastefully done. I thought,
Mm.
hard to do that with like a slasher film.
Yeah.
It's not as slashery as the
Uh-huh.
original, but yeah, I'm gonna look into it because
Okay.
it's really really interesting.
Yeah, that could be a really good episode.
Mhm.
Good combination.
Spooky.
Yeah. Spooky as
And if anyone
hell.
has mirror stories,
Ooh, mhm.
please let us know because
Yes.
that is just so interesting. We could
Yeah.
probably do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, honestly, because there were so many things also about, like, divination through mirrors. Um,
Yep.
I'm blanking on everything else. It was just yeah, there's so many things that people mentioned about mirrors.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we could do a follow-up episode.
Yes, I love
Yes.
it.
But then the last couple things, just more about this triskaidekaphobia, fear of number 13. So, of course, this actually has biblical origins. So I'm back on my
Classic.
biblical stuff.
Back on my Jeezoid bullshit.
Uh-huh. And I think basically it was just because they say that Judas was the 13th person to show up at the Last Supper.
That's right.
Yeah. And then similarly in Norse, I guess, lore,
Mhm.
I don't know the name of the meal they were having. I don't know if it was something similar to the Last Supper or what, but
Mhm.
Loki was the 13th guest to arrive at that dinner and
Oh,
ended up
interesting.
killing someone there. There was also something about, I should have written this down too, but it was some ancient text that left out the 13th, like,
Oh,
article or whatever the right word would
yeah.
be. And they say it's probably just an accident that they did that,
Right.
but people maybe interpreted that as something intentional, that
Yeah.
we should avoid the number 13 for that reason.
Well, can you imagine like writing something with like indigo and papyrus and then realizing you made a typo? I'd be like, nah,
No.
y'all for centuries, millennia can believe that this is unlucky. I'm not redoing the rest of that.
Absolutely not. Yeah, and maybe just create a story as to why you did
Yep.
that. Like, no, it wasn't a mistake. We all know
Yeah.
that's a bad
And
number.
you're like, I just don't like the number. Some guy named like Jerry was like,
Yeah,
yeah, I just am not into
he
it.
just didn't like it, so.
It's
Yeah,
also a prime number, isn't it?
I think so.
13
Yeah,
is just like a weird number. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's prime. I think it's prime. I think 1, 7, 13,
Mhm.
and 11 too is.
Yeah, I'm gonna, like, out myself as being horrible at math right now
I mean,
by
same.
not knowing for sure.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But
But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's just kind of like an unsettling number. You know what I
mhm,
mean? I think I also just have a preference for even numbers. So,
mm,
hashtag OCD.
yeah. Yeah,
Yikes. But,
I I get it. It is yeah, it's just kinda weird. It's like
yeah. Well, we both also love the number 14. So I feel
mhm,
like
yeah,
we're a little biased
yeah.
in the
Also
same exact way.
exactly. Exactly.
Exact.
Also, they said that 12 is apparently the perfect number, which is why we have 12 months in a year, 12
Mm,
hours or whatever, um,
yeah.
in like 12-hour increments.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting. Yeah, the clock's in 12.
yeah, so I don't know.
Interesting.
But
I
then
wonder what the origin of that is.
I know we could try to find that out too. And I don't know
Yeah.
why the proximity of 13 to 12 would make it, a bad number, but maybe it's like the evil
Maybe that's
younger
why. Yeah.
sibling
Right.
of 12. But
The evil stepchild.
yeah, so
That's
that's,
funny.
yeah, that's the origin. Um, I was looking for like specific actual firsthand stories from people who have a
Yeah.
fear of this number.
Yeah.
And everything that I found was like, I don't know, I just kind of don't like
Don't
it.
like it.
Yeah. And it's like,
Okay.
okay, but I don't really get how you can have an actual phobia and not know why. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it can
Some
be
things, I don't know.
irrational.
Yeah, and I think even, well, I was gonna say like textile things, because that's my thing, is like haptitis
Mm,
phobia, is like not, yeah, fear of or discomfort with
mhm.
like fuzzy, specific kind of fuzzy, like peach fuzz and velvet,
Velvety.
where it's like kind of rough and
Mhm.
also it's dry. I think that's what it is to me. Like cotton balls, it's just like dry and it just
Mhm.
grosses me out. Ugh, like
Yeah.
nails on a chalkboard.
Mhm.
But that feels more reasonable, maybe just
Mhm.
because I have it, but it's
Yeah,
textile,
because
so
it
it's like I
has a
just don't like the
sensation.
I don't like the
Yeah.
feeling of it.
Mhm.
Maybe it's all people who have, like, synesthesia or something.
Oh,
They can, like,
yeah.
see the number,
Associate. Yeah.
feel the number.
Ooh, it has bad energy.
Yeah, bad
Maybe.
vibes.
That
I
could
don't know.
be, but
Or they're
yeah.
just a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah. Could be
I'm
that
rude.
too.
I'm
No,
rude.
but yeah, so I thought that was strange, and there were very few, like, stories or things that have happened associated with the number 13
Mhm,
that I could find, like, throughout history, other
mhm,
than, like, the Knights of the Templar were
mm.
what's the word? Arrested, I guess,
Oh, okay,
on Friday the 13th.
okay.
There was that flight, that Southwest Airlines flight, where the woman got halfway sucked out of the plane. Um,
Oh,
do you remember that?
no.
Horrifying. Oh my god, you don't?
That's my worst nightmare. Not my worst nightmare, but it is one of my nightmares.
Yeah. Okay, I can't explain the physics of it, but it was something with the engine or the fan that, and actually what caused it was something on fan blade number 13.
Oh,
And it something pressure difference. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
totally butchering this, but the window shattered. And this woman was sitting in the window seat and she got halfway sucked out of the window, and people were able to keep her in. Like, she didn't fly out, but she did
Yeah.
unfortunately die from injuries that
Well, of
happened while she
course.
was, yeah.
That is horrifying.
I know.
I was envisioning something different. I think,
Mhm.
when I'm just really exposing what a weird mind I have, but when you're like, this is gonna sound worse, so let me get through it and I'll explain. When you're like next to something that could be dangerous and then you can't get the idea out of your head of doing
Yep.
it. So like
Mhm.
standing on a balcony and you're like, I could climb off. Like I'm not going to. I have no desire to do that.
Uh-huh.
But it's just like it's possible. So
Yeah.
you're like, huh. Like I've
Mhm.
had like with babies, like you're holding a baby and you're
Yeah.
like, what if I
I
dropped
could
it?
drop. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
And like I'm not gonna do that, obviously, like
Yeah.
especially not intentionally,
Right.
but that's one of those things when I'm on an airplane, every single time if I'm like waiting for the restroom,
Mhm.
I think I look at the door and sometimes they leave you like there's no one back there with you, like in the
Mhm.
little like
Waiting area.
stewards
Mhm.
area. And I'm like, yo, I could open this door. Like it has instructions on it. I could open it. And then I'm less concerned that I'm actually going to do it. But then I start thinking like, if someone wanted to open it, they could.
Right.
And that's very troublesome to me.
Extremely. I hate
Yeah.
flying. So
Yeah. I
adding.
don't mind it, but it's just one of those things that I'm like, okay, don't
Mhm.
want that to
Don't,
happen.
yeah,
Thanks.
don't put that out there.
No.
Yes. I saw a
Yeah.
video
So none of
recently.
you guys get any ideas about
Yeah.
that.
I feel like I've seen a few videos recently, actually, of
Yeah.
people who were attempting to open the plane door and having to be like wrestled back to their
Restrained.
seat
Yeah.
by other passengers and like
Oh my
the
God.
flight crew.
Yeah,
Which,
because I feel like it's not easy to open the door, I don't think. I haven't
mm-mm,
seen it done, but I think there are multiple steps. So I
mhm,
think it would, and not that there's like an alarm system, but I think like the flight attendants would know if you were
mhm.
trying to open it and they could probably stop you in time. But like,
Yeah, thank
yikes,
God
dude.
for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's scary.
Hell no. Don't
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yikes. But then a couple last things about number
Mhm.
13. Um, so there's a conspiracy theory that serial killers and murderers have 13 letters in their names, like more consistently. Um, it was like Theodore Bundy, Jack the Ripper.
Oh.
I can't think of anyone else right now. Was it
Is
that Night
Dahmer?
Stalker? Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer. Who was the Night Stalker? I think his name is too
Let me
long.
look.
Richard Ramirez, but
Yeah.
that's too long. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they they say that
He's
people
14,
who,
yeah.
okay, so close, but
Mhm.
yeah, they say that people who have 13 letters in their name have the devil's luck, which I assume, I googled it and it wasn't very clear, but I think it just means you have bad luck or somehow
Yeah.
have good luck, but
Or
it's
luck
through the
doing
devil.
bad deeds.
Yeah,
Yeah. That
right.
actually kind of makes sense, right? That like you have good luck in that you can evade being caught, you know?
Hmm. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
all of them hurt a lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
before
Terrible.
they were caught.
Terrifying people. Yeah.
Even like John Macy, I mean Jonathan,
Yeah.
JohnAthanMacy. It's
It is.
13. That's
Yeah.
really creepy. Okay,
Yeah.
note to self when I'm naming my possible future children.
Right. I know. But
Yikers.
troubling thing. So my first and last name it's not 13, but with my middle
But with
name,
your middle
it's
name.
13. So
Don't go murdering people, please.
We'll see. Devil's luck.
Scary. Well, you didn't murder me in university, so I feel like if
No.
you were gonna start murdering, that probably would have been the time. I was pretty annoying.
That's not true. You wouldn't be my victim. I don't know who would be. Nobody.
I'd be your accomplice.
Yeah, I'd tell you if I did it and then
Yeah.
ruin both
You'd be
our
like,
lives.
shit. Ruin both our lives. Not if we don't get caught.
Exactly. Devil's
luck, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. That's funny. It's not at all funny, but it's kind of funny.
It's just such an unlikely situation for us. I will never do really that. I won't put us through that.
No, but Amy accidentally has run-ins with, I'll say fauna, like just nature animals, and she has so much guilt afterwards. Like accidentally she like biked over like a lizard and it dropped its tail and she was like, what if I killed it? I was like, I mean, if you did, it's a lizard. She was like, no.
It still counts.
It does. It does.
Sad.
Sad.
But yeah, that won't happen. But yeah, final thing that I want to say. So there was a man, he was a composer, and his name was Arnold Schoenberg. I think I'm saying that right. But he had severe triskaidekaphobia, and so he just lived in complete fear of days of the month that were the 13th, anything to do with 13. And
13th floors and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And once he got to the age of 76, apparently he was talking to somebody and they said, oh, well, 7 plus 6 is 13. And he just got this idea in his mind, was just in total fear that whole year of his life. And then he was certain that he would die that year. And he did, with no understandable cause. And they think it was just like the power of him thinking that he was going to die, which then brought up another topic that might be good for another time. But it was, I guess they call it voodoo death, which maybe is a troubling term. I don't know. Or let me see. It was like something to do with your psychosomatic reaction to a thought, I guess. If you think about something long enough or fixate on it, then it might end up coming true. And that's like a studied phenomenon.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was one specific anthropologist who did some of his ethnographical work in places where they really had a lot of instances of that. Particularly when it came to like, this woman was told that she ate a piece of cursed fruit or something, and she just died within 24 hours after being told that. So yeah, maybe we talk about that more another time.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting psychological phenomenon. Yeah.
Yeah, what the?
So yeah, that was all over the place, but
no, that was good though. I liked it. I liked it. Oh God. So my topics for today are also a little all over the place, and not as 13 focused. I kind of went down a couple tangents. So obviously, like, started with the Friday the 13th thing, just to see like what scary things have happened, and you kind of covered, there isn't a lot. It's mainly just like a superstition.
Yeah.
So then I kind of went down like Friday the 13th adjacent things, like those email threads that people used to send around, like especially when we were younger. I feel like they're not as common now, or maybe we've just grown out of the age group that does them. But it would be like, send this email, forward this email to 5 people or you'll be cursed, or so-and-so will appear in your room at 4 a.m. and whatever. And like, I remember receiving one of those when I was young, and it was like one of those where it's like, this little dead girl is going to show up in your room, and you're going to
God.
wake up at like 4 a.m. and then you're going to see her and then you're going to die. And of course, what time did I wake up to pee? 4 a.m.
Of course.
Like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Did I forward the email? No. So
Well,
first,
there you go.
I fucking brought it on myself. Dumb hoe. Anyway, so then I kind of went down another path of just like more, not like necessarily internet lore. In some cases it is internet lore, but it's also like just scary stories being told on the internet that, and I'll explain, like some have already been like disproven, similar to like Slender Man. 2 of them have not. And it's just kind of weird. One in particular is really quite creepy.
Okay.
And it's all like true story stuff. So it's, I don't know if it's like true story style where it's actually just creepypasta, but one is I'll get to it in a minute, but one was a Twitter thread that just like went on and on and on, and it's called Dear David. So we'll get to that one last because I think it's like the scariest.
Okay.
So the first one is Momo, which you may remember from college. It's this like terrifying looking bird girl.
Yes.
With this like triangle, upside down triangle mouth, like so creepy, buggy ass eyes. So I wanted to understand like the origins of that. So there was, it basically started spreading back in like 2018. And it was originally created by a man named Keisuke Aso Aisawa. And he created this sculpture back in 2016, which he named Geisha Bird or the Tiger Bird. I'm not sure which of those. He gave it to a group exhibition known as the Ghost Gallery in Tokyo. And then fast forward a couple of years, people started taking images and stealing images of the sculpture actually, and started building the name Momo for the sculpture, which then would lead to Momo. Super similar storyline to Slender Man, where it's like it doesn't kill you, but it convinces you to harm yourself, or harm others. So very, very similar. It's just very interesting. The original artist has stated, I mean, obviously, that he's extremely against the idea of children being harmed, especially over his sculpture and his artwork, and this like made up legend. Which he just feels like he's completely lost interest in building off of that like series of sculptures. So that was kind of an interesting one. Famously, it kind of like, so it picked up in 2018. In 2019, Kim Kardashian actually shared on her Instagram a post created by another woman, which warns parents about the Momo challenge because it started appearing on YouTube videos and cartoons. I didn't know about this. A 5-year-old boy had called the police because of Momo. He was watching a cartoon and the video cut to a photograph of Momo threatening the boy that she was going to kill him.
Oh, God.
I was like, that is so awful.
Yeah.
And then another video showed Momo's face with a hypnotic spiral in the background. In the video, Momo told the viewer, kids, as she referred to them as, to grab a sharp tool from either their dad's garage or to get a knife from their kitchen, and then instructed the viewer to cut their wrists with the sharp tool and to not stop until they see a lot of blood coming out.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she then threatened the viewer that if they didn't do this, she would find them in their sleep. Police have confirmed that at least 2 teenagers have committed suicide because of Momo. So this is actually like similar to Slender Man, where it like has real world consequences, some of this online stuff.
Yeah.
And so in response, the artist confirmed that he actually dismantled the original sculpture. It doesn't even exist anymore. And he stated, children can be reassured. Momo is dead. She doesn't exist. The curse is gone. It's not real. So it's just really, really interesting because it's just so like scary and creepy. And I will definitely share a photo on our Instagram because this shit is terrifying looking.
Yeah, I remember her. Scary.
So that's the first one. The second one is called Smile Dog, which I had never even heard of. And both of these, by the way, are from a a site called Villains Wiki, which is like kind of funny, but it
Mhm.
has like almost all of these like villains from movies, from the internet, from games, from everything, like kind of detailed. It goes gives the history, it shows like, you know, whatever, all the details in the
Mm,
background and how they came to be.
cool.
So the myths and legend around Smile Dog vary quite a bit from story to story, writer to writer. But most of them have this kind of similar narrative in common. So, Smile Dog is believed to be a demonic creature resembling a grinning Siberian husky. But there's a photo, and again, I'll share this as well. But it's not like smiling like a dog smiles. Like, you know, golden retrievers sometimes
Yeah,
smile, and
this
you're like, oh,
silly
that's
little
so
smile.
cute. This is
Yeah.
not cute. This looks like
Okay.
human teeth on a
Ew.
Siberian husky. It's like not a good
Mm.
look.
Mhm.
When it's viewed by an individual, the victim will be plagued by tormenting and traumatizing nightmares. These dreams will always feature the smile dog. In it, the victim will usually ask what it wants, to which the smile dog replies with the famous line, spread the word. So, this is how I got
Mm.
onto it from the email thread thing, because it's like,
Yeah.
spread the word.
Uh-huh.
What he means by this, allegedly, is that is that they attach a file and send it to other people with this photo. So it's like Smile Dog is actually a photo. That's originally what had like confused me. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But it's a photo of this creepy dog. And if you see it, you're blackmailing someone into passing it along. So if the wish is not granted after 3 days, the picture will mutate and deform, depicting a much more disturbing and demonic form of Smile Dog, which many fans and theorists have depicted as Smile Dog's true form, thus amplifying his already terrifying powers to a demonic new level, worsening the nightmares of his victims, etc. Smile Dog is very persistent. It's able to continue psychologically tormenting and haunting its victims in their dreams for months or even years until they spread the word or commit suicide, the latter happening much more often. Otherwise, they simply try to avoid sleeping, resulting in death from sleep deprivation or malnourishment, which may be caused by extreme fear, all of these things. In some variation of the story, after an extremely long period of resistance, Smile Dog will finally manifest into the real world and will haunt and plague the victim in the real waking world as well as their dream world. Some
Oh
Cujo
God.
shit.
Yeah.
If the victim continues to resist after an extremely long time, enough to wear down Smile Dog's patience, he will finally manifest into the real world and end the victim's suffering by viciously and painfully killing them.
Oh,
So,
great.
one story mentions Smile Dog dragging the souls of his victims down to hell with him. Although no one knows the exact origin of Smile Dog or where he originally came from, there are some who say that the origins of this entity come from an original picture of the devil himself.
Oh.
So, kind of interesting. That's a creepypasta reference right there.
Oh.
But it believed to have been first posted possibly on a paranormal board on 4chan back in
Hmm.
like 2008,
Oh.
um, according to the occult related blog Aether Normal.
Hmm.
Ether Normal, I'm not sure. The earliest known image tied to the story is one that I'll share on our page, but it's really quite
Ooh.
creepy. It's like a
Is it?
dog with like a smiling face, like
Hmm.
teeth, like human teeth. It's very creepy.
I assume that's photoshopped, right? It's not like
Mm,
the dog's actual
uh,
teeth.
I would assume so. I mean, if it originated on 4chan, then yeah, but also I
Yeah.
don't
Who
know. I mean,
knows?
that's one where I mean, you assume it's just more internet lore, but it's not like confirmed that that's what it is. And it's not just the origin of it, it's like the idea is there's like a demon. It's a demon basically. And so it's manifesting in this way that is very unnatural looking and like alarms people. But by looking at it, you're then like bringing that into your mind and your real life. Like it has some hold over you by
Hmm.
looking at the photo. So I'll let you know if I have terrifying dreams
Oh
tonight
God.
because
Yeah.
just saw it for the first time today.
No.
Oh, great.
Uh, no,
Ugh.
thank you.
Okay. No, thank you.
Say it again.
Last one is Dear David. So this started back in 2017. Um, New Yorker Adam Ellis had found himself in the middle of a real life paranormal activity situation. This all came out. So it was all on Twitter. So like, I'm actually going to be reading through a lot of his tweets because that's just where you get the most detail in the story. But it also was covered by BuzzFeed and also by 17 Magazine. Actually, 17 Magazine did a really good job kind of covering the whole thing. And so he documented the entire experience, whatever. So this is his tweets. And if anyone wants to look, it's August 7th, 2017. And his handle is Adam Tots Comics, spelled Comix.
Yeah, I remember this story now.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
So scary. And this is not one that has been like, I don't think he's ever come forward and said like, oh, it was just a fictional story. Like I think this thing have actually happened to him. And there's a lot of like weird evidence that just, even if it were fake, I don't know how he would have staged some of the content that he shares, like videos and stuff like that. So I'll get to that in more detail.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read through it as if it's one thing, but it's a bunch of tweets in a thread. So Adam says, so my apartment is currently being haunted by the ghost of a dead child and he's trying to kill me. A thread. He started appearing in dreams, but I think he's crossed over into the real world now. The first time I saw him, I was experiencing sleep paralysis, which like, my guy, it sucks. And saw a child sitting in the green rocking chair at the foot of my bed. He had a huge misshapen head that was dented on one side. I did my best to draw it. This is another. We're going to have like a little carousel in this week's post because there are a lot of photos to share. For a while, he just stared at me, but then he got out of the chair and started shambling toward the bed. Shambling is just such a creepy word to choose. And well done, sir.
Yeah.
I couldn't move because I was paralyzed. I have sleep paralysis fairly often. It sucks. Right before he reached my bed, I woke up screaming. I had another dream a few nights later where I was in a library and a girl came up to me and said, you've seen Dear David, haven't you? I was like, who? What? And she said, Dear David, you saw him. She continued, he's dead. He only appears at midnight and you can ask him 2 questions if you say Dear David first. So like a really fucked up version of Simon Says. Then she added, but never try to ask him a 3rd question or he'll kill you. So then David came back in another dream. Same situation. I was in bed. He was sitting in the rocking chair near the window staring at me. In the dream, I say, Dear David, how did you die? He mumbles, an accident in a store. I say, Dear David, what happened in the store? He groans, a shelf was pushed on my head. I'm frozen with fear. I ask, who pushed the shelf? David doesn't answer. I realize that I've asked a 3rd question, which I'm absolutely not supposed to do. And at that point, I wake up terrified. The next couple days, I Google deaths in the city, but can't find anything about a kid named David dying in a store. I even try a few different names, Daniel, Dylan, Devin, nothing. A few weeks go by without incident. Sort of randomly, the apartment above mine is vacated and I have the opportunity to move into it. It's a larger apartment, so I'm thrilled. Another month or 2 goes by and I sort of forget about Dear David. I think he lost track of me because I moved upstairs. But lately, something strange is happening. For the past 4 nights, my cats gather at the front door at exactly midnight and just stare at it, almost like something is on the other side. Last night, I got a really weird feeling, looked out the peephole, and I'm dead certain I saw movement on the other side. When I opened the door and turned on the hall light, nothing was there, but my cat seemed unnerved, bushy tails, etc. And that's where I am right now. Dear David found me, I think, and I don't know what to do. I'll keep you updated. Update. For the 6th night in a row, my cat has walked over to the door promptly at midnight and just stared at it. And he shared a photo of the 2 cats by the door in a previous tweet. And then in this one, he's literally holding up a clock and you can see his cat in the background, like looking up at the door, staring at it. And so he says, what is going on? So he includes a video and the cat's just like not happy. So he says, okay, I took a photo through the peephole because I'm too scared to open the door. And I think I saw something. I couldn't tell, so I mustered the courage to open the door. Nothing was out there, but I took another photo. And he takes a photo and he's like, is it just me or is there something in the first photo where the banister meets the shelves hiding on the stairs? So he shows the picture that he took through the peephole against the picture he took when he actually physically opened the door and just took a picture. And there's this very weird, like blurry something right where he says, like where the banister meets the shelves. But here's the thing. it could be the light refracting through the glass, whatever. So that one is kind of like, okay, that could be debunked pretty easily. He said I wasn't sure if it was a smudge or something, so I took a second photo from the inside, and I really feel like there was something out there. And it does look, it's like this kind of cloudy, hazy look. And you can't tell, like, is this a trick of the light or what is this?
Yeah.
He says, I deadbolted the lock and got in bed because I don't know what else to do. I can still hear my cat meowing at the door. So all this stuff has been spooky, but this past weekend was the first time I actually felt unsafe in my home. On Friday night, there was supposed to be a huge storm. In the end, it passed, but that night was bizarre anyway. I fell asleep pretty early and I was incredibly tired for some reason. I had a dream that night where David was dragging me by the arm through an old abandoned warehouse. I'm not sure why I didn't fight back in the dream or how he was even strong enough to pull me, but that's dream logic for you. It was a creepy dream. I didn't think much of it when I woke up, took a shower, and then I noticed something. I'd woken up with a huge bruise on my arm. And he shows a photo of it. He's got this like big purple bruise like on the inside of his forearm.
Oh, scary.
Now look, maybe I injured myself the day before and my arm was hurting during the night, which manifested as a dream. There could be a totally logical explanation for it, so I brushed it off. I went to get coffee, which I do every weekend. When I walk to the coffee place, I always pass a food cart repair depot. A food cart repair depot. I don't know. It seems like a really specific niche business, but okay. Devils in the details, I guess. It's always incredibly busy, especially on weekends. I lived in the neighborhood for over 4 years, and the place has always been jam-packed with carts getting serviced. But today, it was completely abandoned. The whole warehouse was totally gutted and empty. And he shows a photo of the empty warehouse. Basically, the only thing in the entire warehouse was a single green chair. If you recall, David first appeared in my green rocking chair. It could be nothing, but it's kind of weird that that's the only thing left behind.
Yeah.
Additionally, strange faces have been showing up in some of the photos I take. A couple people have pointed this out, which I don't have a real explanation for. There's also this, which seems less weird, but still odd that it resembles David. Make of it what you will. And he shares a photo where it literally looks like there's a little boy like kind of standing on the other side of a door behind him.
No.
So he was just kind of sharing like, here's just some other weird shit. So then we get back onto like the proper thread. There have been a few small developments in my apartment, but I'm not really sure what to make of them. I just know I'm scared. If you recall, my cats usually gather at the door at midnight, but lately it's been getting earlier and earlier every night. I was almost used to a routine, so when they started to cry at the door closer to 10 p.m., I was confused. They began a new routine: hover around the door at 10 p.m., cry for about 15 minutes, and then wander off as if nothing's wrong. But this week, something else has happened. Shortly after the usual cat stuff, around 10:30 or so, I start getting phone calls from an unmarked number. My entire call history for the past week looks like this. You'll notice that I answered once yesterday, and it's like no caller ID, like back to back to back to back to back, all red except for the one that he answered. Since this has been happening for days on end, I thought it might be an automated telemarketer or something. Usually, if it's an automated thing, if you answer once, they quit calling. So I picked up. I didn't say anything. I just listened, waiting for some automated message to chime in. Instead, what I heard on the other end was a peculiar electrical static sound, very similar to the static my sleep app picks up at night. Yikes. After about a minute, the static stopped and there was silence. I kept listening. I heard what I thought was breathing, but it was so faint, I can't be sure. My heart was racing, so it was hard to hear. Then, just as I was about to hang up, I heard a very small voice whisper, "Hello."
Oh, no.
Something about the way they said hello really freaked me out. It wasn't a question or a greeting, just hello. Flat statement. So quiet I could barely hear it. I panicked and hung up. I didn't know what else to do. I closed all the curtains in my apartment, turned on every single light. I watched TV until dawn because I was too scared to go to sleep. I sort of feel like I'm losing my mind. The only thing I feel like I can do right now is write everything down. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what I will keep doing. So that's part one.
Wow. That's so scary.
So scary. So I'll keep going.
Okay. Yep. Scary.
I moved the green chair out of the bedroom weeks ago. It's been in various parts of the living room ever since. A thread. I should probably get rid of it, but I'm not sure that would have any effect. Also, I'm going on vacation to Japan in 3 weeks, and I keep thinking if I can make it to my trip, this will all end, as dumb as that sounds. David lost track of me once when I moved, so maybe if he believes I've left the apartment again, he'll leave me alone. Anyway, last week I bought a pet monitoring camera so I can keep an eye on the cats while I'm overseas. It's basically a nanny cam that connects to the Wi-Fi so you can check in whenever you want, and it'll run 24/7. It also alerts you to sound and movement via an app. He said I blacked out the company since I doubt they want to be associated with ghosts. But it shows like his home screen, a screenshot that says motion detection from, sound detection from, and the app name. In any event, I decided to test it out this weekend. I was away from home one night, so I set up the camera before I left. My phone pinged periodically through the evening, alerting me to the cats running around playing normal stuff. Then around 11, it alerted me again that it detected motion. But when I checked the feed of my apartment, I didn't see anything. So I watched the feed again, still nothing. I watched it a third time, finally noticed something. And he says, watch the chair. And the chair, like there are a couple videos of the same scene, and I'll just describe it. It's like this green rocking chair and then a bookcase and then a clear opening to another room, like left to right. And the green rocking chair literally like 10 seconds in just starts very gently rocking. And the cats aren't around. There's seemingly nothing touching it.
Yeah.
So he said, I knew it couldn't be the wind because I haven't had the windows open at all this summer. I have AC and like to keep it chilly. It was unnerving, but there wasn't anything I could do about it right then. So I flipped off my phone, tried not to panic. About half an hour later, I got another motion alert. So this time above the bookcase, there's this like little, it just looks like a little like black circle like hanging on the wall. And at first I couldn't figure out what it was, but he shows what it is. It's actually a turtle shell, and it's just hanging on the wall, and then it kind of like moves a little bit and then it drops off the wall. So he says, if you missed it the first time, like I did, look above the shelf. It's a little turtle shell that I hung on the wall. He's like, yes, I know it's weird to own a turtle shell, but my family lives in Montana and I picked it up last year at a native trading post. Since I've been back home, I've been too nervous to turn the camera back on, and today has been pretty quiet. That said, I feel really uneasy. I put the chair in the hall. I hope nothing else happens tonight. So I went through the actual thread, and there are actually way more parts to the story. It's kind of wild. But there's one where like he actually finds, I think like a children's shoe outside of his door. Like it just goes on and on and on. Like it is just so freaking creepy. This poor man.
Yeah, I can't imagine going through that.
So bad. So bad. So that's Dear David.
Wow.
So very curious if anybody has creepy, haunting stories, especially with a little boy with a misshapen head named David. Because freaking yikes.
Yeah. Was there ever a conclusion? Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it just kind of like went on and on and on. And then maybe he moved, or I'm not sure.
I hope so.
Yeah, I can look it up and see if I can provide some closure for next episode. I'll add that to my notes, but super creepy.
Yeah, very. Wow.
So creepy.
Ugh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird. When animals get involved and are spooked by something, then it's just so creepy.
So creepy.
Yeah.
So freaking creepy.
Yeah.
I will definitely look it up and report back next week. I just put it in my notes. And I'll do some research on Candyman too to see if that's founded in any real story, and we'll scare the bejesus out of you guys next week.
We'll be back next week. Yay.
We'll be back.
Something to look forward to.
Hee hee.
Yep.
Just out here trying to increase your cortisol levels, you know?
Exactly. It's our job.
It's our job. We do. It's our job. That's great. Yeah. Okay, amazing. Well, like I've said multiple times, please email us your stories at girlsgonespooky@gmail.com. You can find us on social at Girls Gone Spooky on Facebook and Instagram. We are on a bunch of different streaming platforms now. on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, another one that we just joined that I'm already forgetting the name
Is
of.
it Reason?
Reason. Yep, Reason. So I think one of you may have actually requested that we join Reason. So went ahead and did that. Yeah, rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And stay spooky, my
Stay
friends.
spooky. See you next week.